Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this month's webinar. Our topic this month is mindful eating, and our presenter is Sandy McDonald. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist and a health coach with Strategic Health Services. Sandy?
Welcome, everyone, to the webinar. It's a great pleasure having this opportunity to present mindful eating today. As Don mentioned, my name is Sandy, and I'm a health coach with Strategic Health Services and have been a registered dietitian for over 20 years. And whether you're joining today because you have a goal to lose weight, maintain your weight, or simply just have a healthy relationship with food, mindful eating is a strategy that will help you in meeting your goal. So today I'll be defining and sharing with you the benefits of mindful eating. I'll also provide tips on identifying hunger levels in satiety and share with you the basics, which are practical tips that you can start with today to incorporate mindful eating into your daily schedule. And to help reinforce the practice of mindful eating, I'll also welcome you to participate in a practice of mindful eating with a raisin or other dried fruit that you may have. And finally, I'll discuss setting goals to help you get started. Before we begin to talk about mindful eating, I'd like to just briefly discuss where the concept of mindful eating came from. Although mindfulness is an ancient practice that's rooted in Buddhist philosophy, it's not necessary to become a Buddhist or attend a week-long silent retreat in order to experience the benefits of mindfulness. Recently, mindfulness has become a popular concept, increasingly accepted and studied in the worlds of science, healthcare, and education. And it's been popularized in the West by Jon Kabat-Zinn with his mindfulness-based stress reduction program. And mindfulness is about paying close attention and being completely aware of what's happening in the present, of all that's going on inside and all that's happening around you. It means not living your life on autopilot. Many of us go through our lives without really being present in the moment. When we live in the present moment, we don't dwell on the past or worry about the future. We're also able to be non-judgmental and less critical of ourselves. And mindfulness is rooted in the realization that when we ignore what we're seeing, touching, or eating, it's as if it doesn't exist. For example, if our child or partner comes to talk with us and we're distracted and not listening, we all go away feeling hungry for connection and intimacy. If we eat while watching television, distracted and not really tasting, food goes down without our noticing it, and we remain somehow hungry and unsatisfied. Mindfulness is associated with enhanced enjoyment. Studies suggest that mindfulness practices may help people manage stress, cope better with serious illness, and reduce anxiety and depression. And many people who practice mindfulness report an increased ability to relax, a greater enthusiasm for life, and improved self-esteem. And finding time for mindfulness in our culture, however, can be a challenge. We tend to place great value on how much we can do at once and how fast. Still, being more mindful is within anyone's reach and can be employed in a variety of settings, such as when you're washing dishes, cooking, walking, driving in the car, listening to music, and eating. So now that you have an idea of what mindfulness means, let's talk specifically about mindful eating. Mindful eating is a series of conscious and unconscious decisions that can be explored using the mindful eating cycle. The first question we need to answer is, why do I eat? Well, hunger is the primary reason for eating. It's a primitive yet reliable way to regulate fuel intake. Young children use this instinct and are able to regulate intake. If you've ever watched a young child eat, you realize they're able to regulate their intake. We're all born with these innate skills. As we grow, some of us unlearn them. We learn to eat for reasons other than hunger, such as tempting food, stress, anger, boredom, deprivation, guilt, and countless other triggers, and choose foods based on those other triggers. When you practice mindful eating, you eat based on your physical hunger rating, using your innate skills just as you did as a child. So basically, you eat when physically hungry. Next on the cycle is, when do I want to eat? The answer may depend on the clock, physical hunger cues, or emotions. With mindful eating, you take time to assess your habits, hunger cues, and emotions. What do I eat? Examines the factors people consider when choosing food, such as convenience, taste, comfort, and nutrition. Mindful eaters understand that all foods fit. There's no good foods or bad foods. Mindful eating involves using balance, variety, and moderation to guide food choices. How do I eat? Is eating rushed, mindful, or distracted? Mindful eaters minimize distractions and avoid multitasking while eating. They're also attentive to how food smells, tastes, color, textures, temperature, and savor each bite. How much do I eat? Quantity may be decided by physical fullness cues, package size, or habit. Mindful eaters are able to identify and reduce environmental cues for overeating. For example, placing unhealthy food out of sight, or better yet, putting healthier foods within sight. And where do I invest my energy? With mindful eating, you not only assess your eating habits, but also consider how you invest the energy from your food. You become aware of your activities and may find that you have too much screen time and not enough time with friends or family. Or you may explore activities that you do enjoy to keep you active and even distract you from mindless eating. So why practice mindful eating, and what are the benefits? Well, during the past 20 years, studies have found that mindful eating can help you to reduce overeating and binge eating, lose weight and reduce your body mass index, cope with chronic eating problems such as anorexia and bulimia, and reduce anxious thoughts about your food and body, and also improve the symptoms of type 2 diabetes. By eating mindfully, you can fully enjoy the eating experience. Mindful eating can also help improve your digestion. Habits of eating too fast, eating at random times, and eating foods that are not good for you all put stress on your digestive system. You may end up with indigestion, heartburn, and other symptoms or digestive disorders. Eating mindfully can help prevent or resolve these symptoms. So now that you may have a better understanding of what mindful eating is and the benefits, you may be ready to assess your mindful eating habits. While mindful eating can't be measured with complete objectivity, this brief questionnaire will help you to identify which skills you may want to boost, and just as important, to also notice or acknowledge what you already do well. So before we begin, write on a piece of paper the numbers 1 through 10 for each question. And as you read each question, score each question with a number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 based on the scale above. 1 is all of the time, 2 most of the time, 3 occasionally, 4 sometimes, and 5 almost never. Make sure you answer each question with a number that best matches your experience. Answer as you think you are, not how you think you should be, and treat each question as a separate question. If you don't know how to answer a question, just leave it blank. Okay, so let's get started. 1, I tend to stop eating when I'm full. And go ahead and mark 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 2, I eat when I'm hungry rather than emotional. 3, I try not to pick at food. And picking at food, for example, means grabbing and eating food out of the refrigerator while getting an ingredient for a recipe, or maybe eating those extra fries on your child's or partner's plate that they didn't eat. So that's picking at food. 4, I taste each bite before reaching for the next. 5, when I eat, I think about how nourishing the food is for my body. 6, I am non-judgmental of myself, my body, and when I accidentally overeat. 7, I don't multitask when I eat. When I eat, I just eat. 8, I don't have to eat everything on my plate. I can leave what I don't want. 9, I tend to eat slowly, chewing each bite. And finally, 10, I recognize when I slip into mindless eating, zoned out, popping food into my mouth. Okay, so go ahead and add up your answers and divide the total by 10, or if you didn't answer all the questions, just divide by the number you answered. And your score will be a number between 1 and 4. A lower number, closer to 1, reflects more mindfulness in your eating behaviors. A lower number also reflects a more mindful relationship to the many forces particularly bodily sensations, emotions, and thoughts that precede and influence eating behaviors. And don't worry if you didn't get a perfect 4. Nobody is perfectly mindful all the time. And based on this assessment, you may want to consider a goal to improve a mindful eating skill. And hopefully the following tips will help you in meeting whatever your goals may be. So now that you know all the benefits of mindful eating and may have identified an area in which you may want to improve, let's get started with the basics of mindful eating that will give you guidelines, not rules, to help you become a mindful eater. The acronym BASICS stands for breathe and belly check for hunger and satiety before you eat, assess your food in an environment, slow down when eating, investigate your hunger throughout the meal, chew your food thoroughly, and savor your food. So let's go through each one of the basics in more detail. The first step before you eat is breathe and belly check. Let's start with breathing. Well, you may be thinking, I breathe all the time, so how is breathing going to help me become a more mindful eater? Breathing exercises are intended to relax your body and bring your mind back to the present moment so you can be more aware. Pausing to breathe can act as a speed bump to help slow things down and tune you into what you're feeling in your body and allow you to be guided by your body rather than your mind or emotions. It's only in this state of awareness that you empower yourself with conscious choice. Breathing can help you deal with emotional issues that lead to food cravings and food fears. When you're calm, you're less likely to turn to food for comfort. So let's do a quick practice of taking a few deep breaths. You're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. So inhale through your nose for 5 counts, expanding your stomach as much as possible while inhaling. And now exhale for 5 counts, positioning your lips like you're whistling or blowing a bubble as you exhale and emptying out your lungs as much as possible. Great. And it's important to understand that learning to breathe to relax is a process. And like any other processes, it does take practice. So try and do breathing exercises as often as you can. Next, as you're taking a few deep breaths, begin to check in with your belly. And the purpose of doing a belly check is to get back in touch with your hunger signals. First, find out what signals you're following. I highly encourage you to keep a food journal for 2 weeks or longer if you need to. And whether you use a mobile app or use paper and pencil, write down not only when and what you eat, but also what you were doing and feeling before you started eating. And using the hunger scale on this slide, you can write down where you were in the scale before you ate and where you were afterwards. And this hunger scale in a printable food journal can be found on the My Pathway to Health portal in the Health Library. When you look back at your food journal, you may see some eating patterns. For example, you may find that you almost always eat dinner in front of the TV, or you may find that you always eat an evening snack, even when you're not hungry. You may find that you often snack when you're bored, stressed, or some other emotion, but you're not truly hungry. When you start feeling like you want something to eat, rate your hunger on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being starving and 10 being so full you feel sick. A rating of 5 or 6 means you're comfortable, neither too hungry nor too full. And to eat naturally, the way a baby does, eat when your hunger is at a 3 or 4, when you're starting to feel a little hungry or when your stomach is growling a little. And let yourself feel some hunger between meals. Mild hunger is a good thing. After all, it's a sign that you're not overeating. And teach yourself to appreciate hunger pangs as a natural part of life, a sign that you're a healthy eater. And it's best to try to eat something within 30 minutes of first feeling this hunger. This will stabilize your blood sugar and just fend off the urge to overeat. And don't wait until your hunger gets down to 1 or 2. Getting too hungry can lead to overeating. And stop eating when you reach 5 or 6 on the scale, when you're satisfied or just pleasantly full and not feeling uncomfortably full. And as a general rule, it's best to eat every 3 to 4 hours. And this may be 3 meals daily plus a mid-morning or afternoon snack, or it may be 5 mini meals. It's your call. But the point here is to tune in, listen to, and honor your hunger and not work against it. And when you belly check, you learn how to tell the difference between true physical hunger and hunger that's really just in your head or a craving. True hunger has a physical basis and comes on gradually and typically remains for more than 10 to 15 minutes and intensifies over time. True hunger can be satisfied by eating most foods, whereas cravings are usually a desire for very specific foods. When you're truly hungry, you may get a headache, feel lightheaded, nauseous, irritable, and most likely your stomach will be growling. Cravings typically come on suddenly and will pass if ignored. Sometimes when food comes to mind and you can't shake it, this could be a signal that you're really craving an emotion. So ask yourself, what are you seeking? Is it to feel calm, to be soothed, comfort, escape, or distraction? Once you've identified this, brainstorm new ways to cope that can be substituted for the food. One way to calm your mind is to tell yourself you can have that craved food later or after you've done other activities you're trying to use to cope. Some suggestions include maybe going for a walk, relaxation like deep breathing, prayer, meditation, calling a friend, listening to music, helping someone, maybe take a warm bubble bath, or simply journaling and writing down your feelings or what you're grateful for. And depending on how long you've been eating to feel better, it can be very difficult to break into a completely new habit to deal with the emotion. So if that is the case, find a comfort food that's healthy. This could mean filling up on fruits and veggies when you're stressed instead of chips. You can also work toward moderation rather than elimination of your favorite comfort foods by dividing them into small portions and keeping only minimal amounts within reach during tough times. Cravings can also be caused by your environment, so maybe put temptations out of sight and keep healthier food choices at eye level. Always have fresh fruit in a bowl on the counter or keep fresh cut-up veggies in your favorite dip at eye level in the refrigerator. And remember that it's important to take pleasure from food and get satisfaction from the foods you eat. Cravings are normal and do have a place in a healthy, balanced diet. By learning to satisfy your cravings in a controlled manner will keep your relationship with food in balance. Constantly giving in to your cravings or confusing them with hunger can lead to overeating in an unbalanced diet, especially since many of the foods we crave are high in fat, sugar, salt, or a combination of the three. So next is assess the food in front of you. Engage your senses and take a moment to think about the food you're eating. Notice the colors, texture, shape, flavor, smell, and sounds. And consider where the food came from, what it looks like on the plant or in the ground, and who grew it. And this creates a sense of gratitude. Appreciation for your food is a key factor in mindful eating. You don't have to take a lot of time with this. Just a brief pause to assess your food can give you lots of information about it. And you also want to assess the food in front of you for balance. Eating a variety of foods at each meal not only provides balanced nutrition, it can also help with meal satisfaction. Just make sure that your plate has foods with fiber, fat, and protein. These three ingredients take the longest to break down, causing a slower release of energy and just keeping you fuller for longer. Find fibers through fruit, vegetables, and whole grains. Opt for healthy fats like avocado, nuts, nut butter, seeds, and olive oils. And remember, in moderation, since these are concentrated in calories. And also get protein from a variety of sources, including lean meat, fish, tofu, beans, and nuts and seeds, and even dairy products. In addition to assessing your food, it's important to assess your environment. Have you ever come home from work exhausted, sat in front of your TV or computer, and then realized you just ate that whole bag of chips as you're reaching for more in the bag and realize they're gone? And it can't be overstated that to become a mindful eater, the mind and body must be present with the plate. When you eat, just eat. And just eat means just that. Focus on your food, and that's it. This means turning off the TV, computer, phone, put down your book, magazine, and mail while dining at the table. And if you are used to reading while you eat a snack, then try alternating reading and eating. Maybe read a page or two in your favorite magazine and then put it down for a few minutes in order to savor your snack. Focusing on your meal or snack will not only lead to greater enjoyment of whatever you're eating, but a greater awareness of hunger and satiety cues. Car, couch, and desk create an environment for multitasking, removing the focus from your meal. And try to use your kitchen table when eating at home, and you can even dress it up with a vase of flowers and placemats for an inviting place to relax while you enjoy healthy food. If you're at work, avoid eating at your desk while doing work. Look for a place you can eat lunch each day, such as outside terrace or quiet area of the cafeteria. And if you absolutely must eat at your desk, then create an eating environment by bringing a placemat, napkin, silverware, or other items that will make it easier to stop doing work activities and just focus on your food. And you can also give yourself a certain amount of time to eat in order to ensure you are not eating too fast. And slowing down while you're eating can help you enjoy your food more fully. Slowing down also helps you become aware of when you're getting full and to notice when the body has had enough. Simple methods to help you slow down include challenging the way you've always done it. If you seldomly use chopsticks, try eating with chopsticks or eating with your non-dominant hand. This will force you to take smaller portions, eat more slowly, and look at the food more closely. And put down your fork or spoon between bites, pausing and taking a breath and sip of water between bites, and chewing your food completely. It takes approximately 20 minutes from the time you start eating for your brain to send out signals of fullness. So wait 20 minutes before getting more food. Leisurely eating allows ample time to trigger the signal from your brain that you're full. And feeling full translates into eating less. And as you're focusing on slowing down with your eating, it's helpful to investigate your hunger halfway through your meal. You may find that you're no longer hungry even though there's food on your plate, or you may discover you don't even like the food you're eating. Give yourself permission to stop or to continue based on how hungry you are, not old rules like you need to clean your plate. And if you're journaling your hunger rating, you can investigate your hunger halfway through your meal and note your hunger rating or how you're feeling. And also take time to investigate your plate. Consider using a smaller plate. Eating from smaller plates will fool your mind into thinking that you have more food on your plate and actually eat less. And try to avoid eating from a bag or box since it's easy to lose track of how much you actually ate, and you can end up eating way more calories than you meant to. So instead, measure out a serving size or take a handful and put it on a plate, or even divide the content of the bag or box into smaller baggies that are individual serving sizes ahead of time. And also try to keep extra food away from the table. Serve vegetables and salad at the dining table, family style, while leaving high-calorie entrees and side dishes in the kitchen. And one of the key components of mindful eating is chewing your food thoroughly and with awareness. And this may seem like a simple concept, but when is the last time you were truly conscious of chewing? I challenge you to give it a try. The next time you take a bite, pay attention to the number of times you chew and your natural reflex to swallow. It may startle you, as it does for many people. Most people chew each bite a mere 2 or 3 times before taking the next bite. When you consciously chew, you'll naturally slow down how quickly you're eating and allow yourself the chance to be aware of your natural hunger and satiety cues, which can decrease your risk of overeating. So try to have a baseline number of chews for each bite, and try chewing each bite anywhere from 15 to 30 times, depending on the food. And reload or take your next bite only after your mouth is empty. And another tip for slowing down is choose foods that you have to work for. For example, choose peanuts and pistachios in the shell. Eat oranges and bananas that require peeling. And enjoy cherries and olives with the pits still intact. Removing the inedible portions during the meal will help you eat at a slower pace. And when you slow down and chew your food thoroughly, you're able to savor and truly taste your food and be mindful of the various flavors and sensory experiences associated with each bite. So to experience this, I welcome you to participate in this raisin meditation, which is part of Jon Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction program. So grab a raisin, just one, or similar dried fruit if raisins aren't your thing, and sit comfortably in a chair. Place a raisin in your hand and examine the raisin as if you've never seen it before. Imagine it as its plump self growing on the vine surrounded by nature. And as you look at the raisin, become conscious of what you see, the shape, texture, color, size. Is it hard or soft? Bring the raisin to your nose and smell it. Are you anticipating eating the raisin? Is it difficult not just to pop it in your mouth? And how does the raisin feel? How small is it in your hand? Okay, now place the raisin in your mouth and become aware of what your tongue is doing. Bite ever so lightly into the raisin and feel its squishiness. Notice the full experience of the raisin's flavor, how it builds in your mouth, how incredibly sweet it is. Okay, so now chew 3 times and then stop. And describe the flavor of the raisin. What's the texture? And as you complete chewing, swallow the raisin. And now sit quietly, breathing, aware of what you're sensing. Although most of us typically eat raisins by grabbing a handful, throwing them in our mouth, and just giving them a quick munch before swallowing, by being mindful, as you did in this meditation practice, you're able to get back into the present moment and not only appreciate your food, but also slow down and are able to listen to your body's hunger cues. So let's just do a quick review of the basics of mindful eating and talk about some possible goals. You may want to consider small, short-term goals that are realistic for you. Remember to set a goal that you know is achievable so that you will feel successful and ready to move on to the next goal. B is for a breathe and belly check for hunger. Maybe start keeping a food journal to rate your hunger before, during, and after one meal this week. Take a few relaxing breaths before eating a few of your meals this week. If you do suspect a craving, maybe drink a glass of water and do another activity for 20 minutes before eating that particular food. A is for assess. Consider assessing your environment and commit to eating one meal this week with absolutely no screen time, magazines, or books in front of you. Maybe have one meal this week that you'll take 20 minutes to eat and not go for seconds until the 20 minutes have elapsed, or set a minimum number of chews before taking your next bite. I is for investigate. Investigate both your hunger and plate. Stop halfway through your meal to determine if you're still hungry. Consider using a smaller plate for your meal, or plan ahead and set aside individual serving sizes from a bag or box. C is for chew. Chew your food thoroughly. Choose high-fiber foods that will take longer to chew. Instead of grabbing a snack pack of applesauce, maybe choose a whole apple. And S is for savor. Take the time with one meal to observe the taste, texture, and smell of your food, just as you did in this raisin meditation practice. And whatever your goals may be, your health coach is available to support you. And in addition to the support of your health coach, there are also resources on the My Pathway to Health portal. As I had mentioned earlier in the presentation, you can find different mindful eating resources in the Health Library. By simply searching the topic hunger signals or emotional eating in the Health Library, you'll find the hunger rating scale and also a sample food journal for recording your hunger rating. And there are also different health trackers, such as the food portions and serving trackers, in which you can journal. And if you do have any questions about any resources or need support as you're working towards your health-related goals, you can contact your health coach today, either by a phone call or by sending a secure message. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining me today in this presentation. I do hope you found some helpful tips. This now concludes the webinar.